And this is Anna from Koala Soap, and among making soap I also make cards with a cuddle bug. I emboss cards and stamp cards, etc. What I was wondering is, my husband and I were talking, is like to make silicone and new silicone designs. I'm thinking, wait a minute, all my stamps are clear silicone. So the idea with these is you take an acrylic block, these you peel them off. Okay, they already have a pattern on it. I don't know if you can see that. And you put on an acrylic block and then you stamp your cards. They are made out of silicone. And I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe it'll work here. So I did. I tried a few and this is what we got. So it is possible. There's a little trick to it. Okay. And the wording, you know, this is really small wording and it still came out. The nice thing about it is we're not outside. The back part is, this is just a tester, is the clear melt and pour, and outside or with light behind it, it actually shines through. It's really cool. So I'll try to get a picture of that for the end of the video. So the things you'll need for this is you'll need to get some silicone stamps, and then you need a silicone mold. And the reason you want to use a silicone mold instead of something else is, let me get another one and I'll show you. I thought this would be a lot better because it's bigger and I could put more stuff in it. The problem is when I take a stamp and I try to put it here, it kind of, you see, I don't know if you can see because it's a clear stamp, it slides around. In here, it doesn't. It's, you put it there, you don't need anything to keep it in place. It's pretty much staying. So that's what I also like. The other thing that's really cool, and you can't see this, but the wording is already backwards for you. So even though you put the flat part down, once you do your soap and you pick it up, it's already right side up. So you can see, what you probably can't see now, the word thank you. So what you do is you grab a silicone mold. If you can find one bigger than this, awesome, but I find that these work really great. And you want to position, I found a few here with a little sentiment, and you want to position it so it's not touching the edge. You don't want it to touch the edge. And just put it so where you have a little bit of room between the edge, because of how you're going to be placing the soap in your design. Okay, so you don't want it touching the edge. That's probably the most important thing for me anyway. You are going to need what we call, you can do it without this, but I found that when, I don't know if you can see this, there's a little divot here. When I was trying to take the stamp out, I had to use my nail, and when I took the stamp out, I took a little bit of the soap out. You could probably shave that down and that'll be okay. This was a sample, that's why it's so short. I just wanted to see if it worked or not. So what I use is a pick that we use for weeding vinyl on things like the Cricut, you know, anything you make with vinyl art. And it comes in a little pack. They are sharp, but basically what you would do is when you're done unmolding, and we'll show you all this, you can just stick it in the middle. It won't ruin your stamp, as long as you don't poke it all the way through, but even then silicone's pretty forgiving on these. And you can just pick it up. So it works really well. So let's go ahead and start. What we're going to do is we're going to use some shea butter, goat's milk, and we're going, oh, you're also going to need a spatula, a rubber spatula, a small one if possible. And we'll go ahead and get going. Let me melt down my melt and pour. Okay, so we have our shea butter melted down. I added a little bit of, it's at 150 right now, of holly jolly. I put the almond in, which I really think smells really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. This spatula, it's an old one. What's really nice about it is it comes apart. I don't know if a lot of them do that, but it's great. If you could find a spatula that's even smaller than this, that would be even better. So what you're going to do is once you position your stamps where you want them, you can go ahead and start pouring. You have to pour very slowly though. Okay, so and you want to, if possible, pour directly on the stamps. It will not hurt the stamps. And you can actually, this won't damage the stamps for your crafting if you do cards. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't want to over pour. You want to get enough to where you can squeegee the soap on your design. So it fills in all those little crevices. You don't want to put a whole, you could pour the soap on top and do a thin layer. The problem is you still have to get it off when it's time, and you'll know what I mean in a second. So I have a little bit of opening there. Now I can go ahead and pour around. You do want a little layer of white, but try not to cover the stamps. The good news about these stamps is that they are so elevated that my funnel spout probably would have been better for this. Okay, and you try to get all the way to the ends. Just make it a real small. That looks good. Okay, give it a little squirt of alcohol. And your funnel spouts will probably work better for this. So pour on top first, and you fill in all those nooks and crannies on the stamp itself. If you can pour, the warmer the better, because it's less chance of this soap clumping on you. And now I'm going to pour in, there's some pink on the bottom that I'm going to get rid of. Okay. A little bit there too. It takes practice, I will give you that. Okay, so we do have a thin layer. We're looking good. We're going to let this sit for just a few minutes, and then we'll come back with our other color. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do one color. We're going to do blue slushy mica from Brambleberry. It is one of my favorites. I already have alcohol in my little bath bomb mold here. I'm going to put the blue slushy in there. We'll mix it up. Okay, and then I have some clear melt and pour here. We'll add that in. Okay, and then I don't want to pour this until it's probably about 135 because I don't want it to melt into the shea butter underneath. So it's 162 now, so we're just going to go ahead and wait a little bit. Also, when it gets into about the 140s, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the almond from Barnhouse Blue. So we'll come back in just a moment. One thing that I forgot to mention is if you did go over your letters or your design a little bit with your soap, before you pour this layer, what you want to do is you can just squirt the soap with alcohol, and then you can go over the whatever the design is with a paper towel, and you can clean it off. It's a lot easier to do this when it's not touching the side though. That's why I said you want it kind of away from the side if possible. So if you have anything here, you can rub that out. I think we're pretty good. Okay, let's see what we're at right now. So 158. One of the things I wanted to show you was when you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and I think they even have these at Joann's, you know, pretty much if they're in this kind of a pack, they will fit in there. But if you're not sure, what I do is I just take a little cutout. What I did do is I took a piece of soap with me in a Ziploc, and then what I did was when I saw these stamps, I just kind of made sure would it fit in my mold. But usually the ones, I can pretty much eyeball them on Amazon, and you know, they'll fit. I know that they'll be fine. So I just wanted to give you that little tip. Okay, so now we're at about 138. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this just slightly, because it's a thin layer, you don't want to pop through. Okay, and now we will squirt with alcohol. And then we're going to go ahead and pour. You don't really want any clumps to go down initially because it'll ruin the design. And of course you can layer this. Okay, and then we'll do the next one. These funnel cups are much easier to use. Okay, we'll go ahead and squirt it with alcohol, and then we will just let it set and we'll be back. Okay, they feel like they've set, so we're going to go ahead and unmold them. And this is basically what they look like when they are unmolded. Now you can see the stamps are right here. We'll get the other one out. That's our other one. So this is where you're going to need this pick tool, because if you can imagine getting the stamp out of here is going to be really hard because there's really nowhere for you to grab, and that is why you would need some kind of a pick tool. And again, there's several on the market. I'll leave a link to one below, and you're just going to go right inside and lift it up. There you go. And there you go. And the stamp, if you like your stamps, it's just fine. Okay, so you're going to wash it off and make sure you don't have any soap or any residue in there. You're going to grab your pick tool again. And just gently pick up. Gentle as possible with your stamps. You're just going to wash them off and then they should be good. All right. And there you go. All ready to go. One of the things I was wondering is if we could fill this with like a little bit of clear melt and pour with glitter in it, but I guess we're trying to get away from using glitter so much. So I think this looks really awesome. And it's a way that you can reuse your stamps. So I think these are great ideas, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any ideas or something you want to see, let me know, and I will see if I can make it work. All right, you guys have a really good holiday week.